In your opinion, what are some of the must places, like the must visit places in the Philippines? Do you feel like being
Yes.
a beauty queen can be compared to being, in sports as an athlete? What would you say is one of the biggest lessons that you have learned from last year? How would you introduce yourself?
So, yes, my name is Cristelle Abello. I'm 27 years old. I am representing the province of Aklan, as most of you know. I grew up in the States, in California specifically. I moved around a lot, and now I'm here back in the Philippines, living here at the moment, chasing my dreams for the crown. So, that's just me. And, if I were to speak in a little more casual environment, I would just tell people, I'm just your girl next door, very chill, very relaxed. And I love to meet new people. I love talking with new people. So, everything's all good. And just, I'm just a very, just a chill girl.
How is it going on
Yes.
your end, and what is your mindset right now? Let's say, like in at this point in time, how do you feel about the competition?
Ooh, a lot of mixed emotions right now. I'm really anxious. I'm really excited. There's a lot of pressure, but then at the same time, I want to stay focused and I also just want to enjoy the ride. So I just have a bunch of emotions going on right now, but for the most part, good stress, good emotions.
What would you say is the biggest difference between Cristelle last year and Cristelle this year today?
Ooh, I think the biggest difference in myself is I'm a lot more confident now. And I think that's because know I know myself a lot better now, and I know my strengths. I know how to capitalize my strengths. And also in terms of weaknesses, I've also learned to really prioritize my time in those weak areas so that I can just improve myself to the best that I can. So I think I'm just a lot more confident now, and I have a lot more passion to really get this crown this time around.
In your opinion, what are some of the must places, like the must visit places in the Philippines? Asking for a friend, huh?
Of course, of course. Okay, so I am representing, of course, the province of Aklan, and it would be a shame to not promote our beautiful paradise, Boracay. But that's already a given to everyone. So if I were to recommend another must see in Aklan, I would actually invite and encourage everyone to come to this festival that we have every January called Ati Atihan. And it's a crazy festival, and we celebrate and honor the child Jesus. And a lot of the people, or a lot of the Aklanons, they dress up like the natives, and they dress like the Ati people. And we just dance all night long and celebrate. And it's just a really fun time. And I think a lot of people should really experience and enrich themselves into that culture and that experience at least once in their
Talking about
lives.
a clan, how does it feel to have so much support and people backing you up and really rooting for you?
You know what? A little bit of both. I have received a lot more confidence now to fight harder because I know that they're still behind me and still rooting for me. But of course, at the same time, I still have that pressure that's on my shoulders, but that's just very normal. But again, I am honestly really lucky to have such a strong support system. And not just also from my fellow Aklanons, but also on my mom's side, because my mom's side is also from Cavite, the province of Cavite. And I also have family members on that side who are supporting me to this day. And it's just really nice to have, like I said, such a strong support system. And, having that type of love and receiving such positive feedback, it just pushes me so much more to try and fight harder. So it's great.
What would you say to those who have mentioned that they preferred like the longer hair, like last year's styling, for example?
I like how you said this is like a part of an evolution. Like, wow, this is such a crazy transformation, right? To those people who are saying they prefer my older hair, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I think that every person is entitled to their own opinion. Personally, for me, I wasn't ready for the haircut when I had to go through the haircut because I was so used to my long hair. And it also took me so many years to grow it out just for the pageant, and just to chop it all off was was heavy for me. And so I myself wasn't for it, but now, it's definitely a look. It's definitely growing on me. And I think that it does make me a little more edgier, a little more mature. And I just, it's time for Cristelle
What would you
2.0.
say is one of the biggest lessons that you have learned from last year?
Ooh, maybe not a lesson from last year, but a lesson from all the pageants combined that I've ever joined.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest takeaway is learning how to take my time, because when you're out on stage, you tend to forget and don't realize how fast and how fast paced everything is. And you don't really realize that you only have a matter of seconds to impress the judges. And though it's only a matter of seconds, it's really possible for you to make such a great impact. And I think it's just so important to take your time, to breathe, and to show your best self in those short amount of seconds. And I think it just changes the whole competition, and how you approach it. So I think taking my time, breathing within the moment, living within the moment is definitely a lesson that I've learned throughout my pageant experience. Because sometimes in the past, I tend to I kind of I'm scared, I'm scared to go out there. I'm nervous and I'm like, oh, okay, let's just go and let's just do it. And then I end up rushing through the portions, through the swimsuit, the evening gown. And then when I look back and I watch the videos, I regret to myself, and I tell myself like, oh, I should have just taken my time a little more and just be within the moment, because that moment is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
What was your state of mind at that point during the coronation
So
night?
I think my biggest mistake from last year's finals night is I made a mistake once, and that mistake led me to my downfall. After that one mistake, it was really hard for myself to pick myself back up. And so therefore my next performance, which was actually the swimsuit performance, I think you can kind of see in my face that I have so much disappointment in my face, because I knew I messed up from the previous segment. So I think that's something that I learned from last year. However, after the competition, it was also a mix of depression, also a mix of happiness. Happiness because it was just amazing to see how far the girls and I had come, because we had started the pageant in February of 2020, and it didn't proceed until October of 2020. And it was the most stressful journey. And to be able to be a part of such a beautiful production, last year's production, I think, was amazing. And to be a part of a great show, and to be surrounded by phenomenal women, I think that was such a great takeaway from last year, and it just made me happy to be a part of that experience. And then at the same time, I was, of course, also I went through a moment of depression, just because I felt like I had disappointed people. I felt guilty. I felt like I hadn't fought as hard as I should. And so I just, decided to stay away from social media, give myself a break, and focus on myself, and give time and space just for my own thoughts and myself.
From all of the challenges that you have put out so far, which one has been the most difficult for you, and why?
The most difficult of all challenges, I wouldn't say difficult. I honestly enjoy all the challenges, and I'm just happy to be on this journey. So I think if I were to rephrase the question, I think my favorite challenge so far has been the runway challenge, because I got to travel to Aklan to do my runway challenge. And I think it was just a side of me that a lot of people hadn't seen, because I'm not sure if you know, but last year my pasarela was so that's why coming back as Cristelle 2.0, I was really eager to show everyone and just be like, like check out the new me, I can pasarela now. And I was really excited to do that, and to also do it in Aklan, to do it in Boracay, just made it all the more beautiful for me. So I really enjoyed the runway challenge.
Actually, one of the most important things during a pageant is Q&A. So how do you feel about that, the communication skills and all of that? Obviously, you're very good, but does it make you feel
Oh,
anxious?
to be honest, of course it does. I would be lying if I said no, right? I would be lying if I said, "Oh yeah, give me the Q&A."
Bring it
I
on.
do get of course, I do get anxious because there's just so much pressure, and you can do so well in the other portions or the other segments, and then kind of just blank during the Q&A. I mean, that has happened to me from personal experience. That's why now I've really changed my training so that I can do well and give an impactful answer this time around. But anyway, it's hard, if I have to be honest, and I understand every girl's the pressure that every girl has to go through. So it's just important to just prepare and train and just breathe.
Do you feel like being
Yes.
a beauty queen can be compared to being, in sports as an athlete as well?
Yes, I do. We train so much, not just physically. And when I say physically, I also don't mean we're just out here trying to be skinny, because in past experiences I was skinny and underweight and it wasn't healthy. So when I say physically, it's important for us to train right and to be healthy, because when we stand on stage for so many hours, it all relies on our core, on the strength of our core. So it's really important to keep a strong core. It's important to have a healthy mind, and along with a healthy mind comes a healthy body, so, and vice versa. I think that in in all aspects of training and how we train, we commit so much and we work vigorously just to, just for the crown. So I can definitely see why people would say that we're also like athletes.